Welcome to the Good Old Football Podcast. Our guest today, second time on the podcast, right, for Ryan O'Toole?
It's an honor.
It's an honor to have you back. I got to ask, so I was thinking about this today. I'm going to pick this mic up. March 17th of 2020, you called me from Paris, right? From
Barcelona.
Oh, you were in Barcelona. Okay, so you call me, and this is like height of the pandemic. This is, I think, 6 days after the NBA and NHL had canceled their seasons, and you called me and said that your mother had called you crying, and you're in Barcelona, and it's really bad in Spain at the time.
Yes,
so I'm thinking
way worse than it was in the United States.
Absolutely, way worse.
Spain was, if it was 6 days into the pandemic in America, then that means it was probably 2 weeks in España.
So, and in Barcelona, you call me and you tell me, I'm not going to do my impression of you. You say that your mom called you crying. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh, she's a mom. She's worried about her baby boy over there. Nope. It was because Tom Brady announced he was leaving New England.
I know. I don't even like thinking about it. I honestly don't.
Was it hard to go through the year without him?
Yeah, absolutely.
But last time I saw you, I think it would have been September in Washington Square Park. And at the time, you and I were both pretty confident the Patriots were still going to make the playoffs because Cam Newton looked good there for a month or so.
The first month of the season, he looked great. But it's also one of those things that's like we had something in our life for 20 years. You know what I mean? Like I say it all the time. Like he was been the quarterback of the Patriots since I was in the third grade, or the fourth grade, I guess, and that's a lot, and the Patriots are very important to me. So, and he was obviously at the forefront. It's different. It's still strange, because I'm rooting for him, but it's still strange to look at him wear a different uniform and then do amazing things,
I do remember you telling me, and you were 1,000% serious when you said it, that you love Tom Brady more than most of your family members.
And that still holds true.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Is that he kind of turned there a little bit?
No, I don't love him. The thing is, I don't love him any less. I mean, the Patriots are still like the most important thing really in my life. The New England Patriots, but I don't love Tom Brady any less. I mean, obviously I wish him success, but I'm obviously rooting for the Patriots first and foremost.
So just to be clear, now, have you been like, would you find yourself like during Sunday night and Monday night games when the Pats were not playing? Did you find yourself watching Tom and rooting for him?
Always check. Every week I checked in. Every week. Every game that I could watch, I would. Every Monday night. I mean, and they would broadcast a lot on nationally this year. And I absolutely.
I got to ask too. So a lot of my audience is AFC North centric. So sure. You told me at one point that the team you hate the most. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It still is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Absolutely.
What's going on? How were you? Did that kind of cure your playoff blues a little bit when Ben Roethlisberger was crying?
I don't like the Cleveland Browns. I don't like the Cleveland Browns either. I want to say that. I was pulling for them in the playoffs. I was pulling for them, because I don't really like Kansas City. But that was fantastic. But you know what? As much as happy as I was when they were beating up on Pittsburgh and stuff like that, I still thought they were going to blow that game.
So did I.
100% thought when it got and it was. And it was. I'm not going to say the game was winnable for Pittsburgh, but I thought it became very losable for the Cleveland Browns in the fourth quarter of that game. Very losable, and it was just another classic Mike Tomlin performance. I mean, good Lord, how this guy is still the coach, and I hope he coaches the Steelers for the eternity of his lifetime. I hope it's really one of those Chuck Noll situations where he just coaches them for 40 years, but. I mean, that was great seeing the Steelers lose like that.
I agree with you. People don't realize I've went over this on the podcast, but still I feel like national media apparently doesn't listen to the podcast. But Mike Tomlin, the last 10 years since they went to that Super Bowl in 2010 where they lost to Green Bay, they've been bad in the playoffs. I've went over this. They've beat Alex Smith, A.J. McCarron, and like T.J. Yates. They have beat no one with a decent quarterback. And A.J. McCarron probably beats them if not for the fact of Vontaze Burfict and Adam Jones just losing their minds and getting back-to-back 15-yard penalties.
Absolutely. It's one of those things. It's like when you look at, it's interesting when you look at Roethlisberger started off, I think his first like 11 or 12 games in the playoffs, he looked like he was going to be this. You look at the first couple times Roethlisberger was in the playoffs, and then you look at since then, it's like I can't tell you off the top of my head what his record is, but
it's not good.
No, it's not at all. And granted, he's won multiple Super Bowls. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. We all know that. But when you look at his record in the postseason, it's like there's been a lot of bad losses there. And I think his obviously his latter days, his better days are behind him. But you look at it, and Tomlin's a big part of that, you know?
Yeah, he should take some blame too. I'm looking it up right now, Ben Roethlisberger. Another thing, Ben Roethlisberger in that first Super Bowl, people always say, yeah, he's won multiple Super Bowls. And sure, he has. But that first one of the best defenses this century. Cool. He had the number one defense and the number one running game in the NFL.
That was the team that beat Seattle, correct?
That's when they beat Seattle in Super Bowl 40. And I don't know that they win in the wild card game if they don't take Carson Palmer out in his second throw, or no, it was his first throw, second play of the game. Yeah. So, Ben Roethlisberger, he is 13-9 in the playoffs. But that includes that 4-0 record in 2005, where they went from the wild card. Yeah, they've got during their Super Bowl years, which again, you can't take that away from him, but during the Super Bowl years, he went 7-0. Aside from that, he's 6-9, obviously, including now he's lost 2 in a row with, remember, the last one. Let's see how that pops up. But remember, he got the last time before he lost to the Browns in the playoffs, he got beat at home by the freaking Jaguars.
I know.
In the playoffs.
It was in that Jaguars game was very similar to that Cleveland game where Jacksonville got way ahead very early in that game.
Yep.
That Jacksonville-Pittsburgh game, I can't remember the score of that game, but that score didn't reflect what happened that game. Jacksonville beat the hell out of that Pittsburgh team. And Pittsburgh, I'm not going to say I don't think they made it close. I think they lost by like 8 or 10 points. But that was Jacksonville really laid it on them that game, and that was in Pittsburgh.
Right.
After Jacksonville already killed them earlier in that season too, and I remember that was a Monday night game. It was Pittsburgh playing someone else, and Pittsburgh was calling out New England, saying it's us and them, it's us and them. Mike Tomlin and the cornerbacks and stuff there were all saying that.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I remember that now.
Yeah, and they lost to Jacksonville.
That was because there was some corner wasn't it a cornerback in Pittsburgh who no one had even heard of?
Mike Mitchell, I want to say.
Mike Mitchell was a safety. He went to Ohio University. He talked a lot too. You know what? I think it was him. I think I'm thinking of a different situation. Mike Mitchell from the Cincinnati area went to OU, played for the Steelers. He opened his mouth. There was someone who, and it might have been Mike Mitchell, who Brady got up in their face after a touchdown when they played.
Oh, that's happened multiple times. It happened the undefeated season too, when it was Anthony Edwards or Anthony Smith, I think his name was, running his mouth when the Patriots were like 12-0. And listen, this is what Mike Tomlin's famous for, though, is letting these. Could you imagine these no-name players, these borderline backup players running their mouth have always done this with Pittsburgh under Mike Tomlin, where they talk like they're this star player and all this stuff. They've always done this historically with them. This is 12, 13 years. He's been the coach there now too.
Well, that's something. I think it's been longer. Yeah, it has been 14 years. I think it was 2006 he took over. I've talked about that. Why can they not get a receiver right in Pittsburgh? I mean, as good as Chase Claypool is, dude, what are you doing? Like running your mouth after getting beat at home. And I mean, Antonio Brown was an issue. Plaxico, when he was there, was an issue. Mike Wallace was an issue. I don't know what it is for being such a stable franchise. Every receiver they draft, Hines Ward, absolute mouth. I mean, every guy they have at receiver just can't seem to shut up.
Yeah, but, I think a lot of there's a difference, though, between the Hines Ward, Antonio Randall, and Santonio Holmes of the world, though, because they at least won something.
True.
There's a big difference between – there's a dramatic difference between the Pittsburgh Steelers of the first – from 2000 to 2010 and then 2010 on. There's a dramatic difference because these guys haven't done anything. Let's set that straight. They haven't done anything. I mean, they've only appeared in one Super Bowl since then, and they lost.
To the Packers. I mean, that's the thing. They've done nothing since 2010.
Nothing. And granted, I'll tell you. Okay, when did they went to the AFC Championship game? Okay, they get blown out by New England, and I know I'm not like they ran into a Patriots dynasty in the middle of the 2010s. Okay, I get it, but you only played them once in the playoffs, and then do not forget 2018 when they beat New England, and then they still missed the playoffs right at the end of the season. In 2018. They beat New England, and I want to say week 15 or 16, and then dropped the last 2 or 3 games. And that should have been the time they should have let Tomlin go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, though, man. I'm good with and look, he's a good coach. He's fine. Is he worth? Absolutely, he should be an NFL coach. But when people try to put him in the top tier, it just great. Here's the difference to me. Great coaches win games they're not supposed to win.
Absolutely.
Mike Tomlin is the opposite of that. You can count on Pittsburgh to lose a game they're not supposed to lose every year. Did it twice down the stretch, or did it multiple times. But this year to lose to Washington and Cincinnati when you're in a desperate situation and to start 11-0, he does. And look, if you had to trade Zach Taylor and Mike Tomlin, would I be mad about it? Absolutely not. But just this idea that he should be up there in that upper echelon with Andy Reid and Bill Belichick.
When you have a Hall of Fame quarterback and you only you're supposed to win most. Now this is a different thing. Aaron Rodgers. Like, can we start talking about Aaron Rodgers in the postseason now?
Same thing.
I mean, the national media, the way they talk about Aaron Rodgers, and I think the narrative's died and stuff like that, but Aaron Rodgers, people act like Aaron Rodgers isn't on the level of Peyton Manning and
no.
It's not even close. Can we talk about him? You want to talk about postseasons? What the hell is he ran the table and he won a Super Bowl? I'll give him that. He ran the table as a wild card, a team that got in on a wild card, which I'll give it. They probably wouldn't have been a wild card team if he didn't miss 4 or 5 games that stretch in 2010, 2011. What has he done since then? All right. He's the MVP this year without a doubt. He's probably the best player in football this year. Losing at home like that, and I know the coaching wasn't great. It's like, this guy's only appeared in 1 Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers.
And it's similar to, I still think Peyton Manning, as crazy as it might sound, is underrated because he overcame the terrible franchise that I think is the Indianapolis Colts and I don't know. I've said it's a confusing thing because Rodgers, again, in the postseason. And again, Peyton Manning made it to 4 Super Bowls. And that's why I said on the podcast last week, I think Aaron Rodgers should leave Green Bay. I think he should look at what Peyton Manning did. Peyton Manning got to 2 Super Bowls in 12 years with the awful Colts franchise, goes to a good franchise in Denver and gets to 2 Super Bowls in 4 years. So I'm so on the fence because I don't care what anyone says. Your franchise has a lot to do with whether or not
100%.
You succeed as a quarterback. And I'm just curious, is Aaron Rodgers that good where if he leaves Green Bay, he's going to dominate somewhere else? Or are we seeing what he really is? I don't know. My whole life, Green Bay's had a good quarterback. It's either been him or Favre. So it's tough to tell.
They've only won 2 Super Bowls with both of those guys. It's unbelievable. They've only played in 3 with those guys.
I think Favre went to – no, they played in 4. Right? Rodgers has only been to 1. Why do I think he's been to 2? That's insane.
Rodgers
he's 1-4 in the NFC Championship now. By the way, you're rocking your Harvard sweatshirt today.
I am.
What did you major in there?
I don't even know what do they even have? I don't even know what Harvard has to offer. Law? I'm a lawyer.
I'm sure they have law. They have science, maybe. I don't know.
Social studies.
We were talking about before we started recording. There are more Harvard NFL players than I would have imagined. With the headliner, of course, being one Ryan Jeremiah Fitzpatrick. The other big guy will be playing in the Super Bowl on Sunday, and Cameron Brate. And the other, probably the third headliner here, played in it last year, Kyle Juszczyk, the fullback.
Oh, Juszczyk. How did we forget him? Yeah.
Juszczyk, the old 49ers fullback. And then it looks like the Bears, there's like 14 guys. They got
a solid listen, they have a solid program. Harvard football, like they produce players.
Well, and they're all geniuses. I mean, that's like Fitzpatrick. He just is so good at picking apart defenses that he
free agent too. Where do you think he ends up?
Who wait, where does he go?
Ryan Fitzpatrick is a free agent, correct?
I don't know. I believe he is, yeah. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. It'll be an interesting one to see. I mean,
big quarterback off season this year.
Dude, he's a guy. Ryan Fitzpatrick's a guy. I think he would have been better in Indianapolis than Phillip Rivers was this year.
Sure.
Now, I don't know. That'll be a fun one to see. It's also crazy that as good as he was in Miami, he might have been having one of the best seasons of a quarterback to ever get benched.
Oh, I know.
In credit to Brian Flores, who I love and I think is great, and I'm mad the Bengals didn't hire, but I don't even think they interviewed him. Whatever. But I do think credit to Brian Flores, who apparently said all along, like, once Tua's ready, it doesn't matter what's going on. We're going to put him in there, and they did. And it looks like maybe he wasn't right to make that call, but at least he went with it. So good for him.
Yeah, mixed bag with Tua. I think you saw good things from him, but then you also saw other things where it's like, but it's still very early in his career. It's still so early with
dude. It's so just, and I kind of feel bad for quarterbacks now because if you don't come out guns blazing, you get freaking benched.
Oh, the leash in the NFL. I'll never understand it. It's the same with head coaches. It's the leash in the NFL it's so short.
Yeah. Speaking of quarterbacks and on the move, one Matthew Stafford.
Good for the Lions. That's all I'm gonna say is good for the Lions.
Why do you say that?
Why do I say that? 2 first-round draft picks and a guy. Listen, you're gonna get 2 first. So if you're the Lions, you get, what was the trade? It was 2 first-round picks and a third, I believe.
Yep.
And a third, which is very big. And you get Jared Goff. Now, I'm not saying Jared Goff's this top tier all-pro NFL quarterback, but he was in a Super Bowl 3 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, and as someone else pointed out, he's won playoff games in New Orleans and in Seattle.
Absolutely. He's one of those guys. It's like now you're going to have 2 draft picks. Is it going to be 2 first-round picks this year?
Yes.
That's huge right there. You get and I know Detroit has a lot of issues to overcome. They're going to have a new head coach. Who did Detroit hire this year for a head coach?
They hired one, Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell, legend. Okay, so I want Detroit to do. He's just going to be sitting there chewing tobacco and I love Dan Campbell. I want that guy to succeed so badly. But by the way, this is what I love about you is that most people are like, oh, he's talking about biting off a kneecap. That is your guy, and I'm with you. Absolutely.
Dude, people forget all the time. This is reality TV. That's all it is.
Yes, it is. It's reality TV for men that are overloaded with testosterone.
Yes.
That's 100%.
And chips and cheese.
Yes, exactly. So I want Campbell to do good, but you hit on a couple of these draft picks right here, and Detroit's right in the mix. Especially, I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers is going to leave, but if Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay, that division is wide open.
Oh yeah,
wide open if he leaves.
I
can't see 2 first-round draft picks for Matthew Stafford. I don't care what his statistics say. 2 first-round draft picks?
So first, let me clarify I was wrong. The first-round draft picks are from 2022 and 2023. Okay. So there's that. But yeah, I really like Stafford. I think Stafford's really good. However, can he stay healthy? And to my understanding, the Rams needed to get rid of those draft picks because they don't have any money left to spend.
Yeah.
So that's that. But what I wanted to ask you about, allegedly, and I don't know if you've heard this or not, Matt Stafford said he'd go anywhere except New England.
Yeah, you figure we just hired Matt Patricia for our coaching staff like 2 or 3 weeks ago, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. I'm sure. If I had a guess, I'd say, and who knows if we'll ever find out why he doesn't want to go to New England, but I'm sure the Matt Patricia thing has something to do with it.
How do you feel about Matt Patricia? I've made fun of him a lot on this podcast, but he's one of those guys. Again, I like seeing guys like him get. I don't want him to get one in Cincinnati. I like seeing Dan Campbell get a job. I liked when Mike Singletary went crazy during a press conference as the 49ers head coach. I don't want my team to do that, but I enjoy those things. But at the same time, the thing I didn't like about Matt Patricia was the sense of arrogance that he had when he had done nothing. And also, look, the whole pencil in the ear thing, dude, we can see that you're using a laminated play sheet. What the hell are you using a pencil for on the sidelines in 2020?
I'm sure as a defensive coordinator, I felt indifferent about him. I know he won, he's two-time Super Bowl champion just as a coordinator with New England. None of those defenses were really great, though. They were, I guess I'd say the 2014 one was a damn good defense. But when you have a defensive-minded head coach in Bill Belichick, listen, him on the coaching staff, fine. He's going to be on the coaching staff. Who knows exactly what he's going to do? He's probably going to be defensive assist. Belichick never says what these guys actually do, so he'll be on the if he wants to be on the coaching staff, fine. We've had success with him here. As far as his time in Detroit, it was a disaster in Detroit. But again, Detroit's another thing, and I think this will be tough with Jared Goff and everything they have coming in for Campbell and stuff like that. Is not a good organization.
I feel bad for Jared Goff. And look, I think he's fine, but if you can't be, if you have the system that Jared Goff had in LA and you can't ball out and be like, yep, this is mine, you're probably not going to be better in Detroit, which is just, a toilet.
Absolutely. But I think if you're Detroit, I think you had to have made that trade. I think if you're the Lions, you absolutely make that trade.
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah, I think again, it's a good deal for both sides. Detroit, definitely, because Detroit's now got, if nothing else, a good bridge quarterback that you can say to your fan base you had a good reason to throw him out there. In addition to the extra draft picks, I mean, there's no reason they shouldn't make some noise. And like you said, if Rodgers, for whatever reason, ends up out of Green Bay in the next year or two, it is wide open.
Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely wide open. And not to mention, you figure Detroit this year, they're probably picking under the 16th, 17th pick or something like that.
I think they're like third or fourth.
The Lions?
I just had it pulled up and I closed it. No, it's not that. It's in, and maybe it's seventh, because I know that Justin Fields, the Ohio State quarterback, was mocked to them in a few. Yeah, they are seventh.
Seventh. Wow.
I think the reason I thought that, I saw a mock draft earlier. By the way, I've got to stop looking at those, but I saw a mock draft earlier that had them trading up to thirds to get someone. Dude, the mock drafts, here's the thing. I don't believe them anymore. Like when I was growing up, I loved mock drafts, but I loved them. I loved them because it was like a great writer like Dr. Z in Sports Illustrated would put out one mock draft and you got to see that. Now everyone's changing it every single week.
Yeah, I know. Mel Kipe is mock draft 2.5. It's like, how many of these things are there going to be?
So you just, whatever. Good for them. If it makes them money, those are jobs that are created. People like them. I find myself the last couple of years being like, what am I doing? I looked at probably 3 today. It's like, what am I doing? It's February 1st. So many things are going to change, but whatever. Are you there? You've frozen on my Zoom screen. You look like you've been bit by a snake. Oh, yeah. Speaking of, so if I splice it right here, we lost connection for a second. Speaking of which, of quarterbacks on the move, what do you want New England to do?
Ideally, who knows? There's so much things out there. It's like, I wasn't really huge on staff because New England, we were 7-9 this year. So realistically, in this division, you're 2 games out of the playoffs. Who knows what that'll look like next year? But you figure Buffalo's really good. Buffalo doesn't look like they were just going to be good for a year or two. If Rodgers became available on that slight chance, it would be beautiful. I don't know. I just want them to have a solid starting quarterback. Who knows who the hell it is?
Oh, I hope it's not. If it's Aaron Rodgers, that's kind of like when, it's kind of like with Green Bay going from Favre to Rodgers, kind of like with Indianapolis going from Luck or from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck. No, I hope you don't get Aaron Rodgers. Well,
it would be one of those things, though, where if Aaron Rodgers became available on Green Bay's end, it would make sense because you're not going to want him to go to an NFC team. So they would look. If Green Bay is going to look anywhere, they're going to look in the AFC first. Now, obviously, that's outside looking in. Now, I think the Matthew Stafford deal definitely affects the market for quarterbacks. It's going to affect what the market is but I don't see a lot of teams being Deshaun Watson, for example. So if Matthew Stafford's worth 2 first-round picks, a third-round pick, then what's Deshaun Watson worth? Double that? How many teams can give up 4 first-round draft picks?
Well, again, the way I understand it is the Rams kind of had to give up a lot of picks. They wouldn't have been able to pay those guys. So I was reading from people who know more about numbers than I certainly do that should not be read as a barometer because the Rams had to shed a lot. Now, I don't know. I don't really know what any of these teams' cap situations are outside like the Bengals and Browns and Steelers. That's the same thing with the Steelers. Steelers have to rework Big Ben or they're going to be in trouble here. Why not Deshaun for Aaron Rodgers? If the numbers work straight up, that'd be fun.
Yeah, it'd be very fun. It'd be very interesting, But then again, would Aaron Rodgers want to go to Houston? It's
Yeah, they've really stunk it up recently. I don't know. They tried so hard to become New England South for like a decade, and they've instead become Cleveland South.
Oh yeah, it never came close. It never came close. There's a lot. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'd hope for Rodgers or Deshaun Watson or any of those guys, but the Patriots are so unpredictable. From everything they do, they're so unpredictable. You can't read into anything. No one has a good hand on what they're going to do. From the draft to free agency to trades to anything, you never know what the Patriots are going to do.
Well, that's one way to look at it. I am. You know what I don't like about you is that you're a rational Patriots fan. And they're so easy to hate. And then I became friends with you, and you've always got, because like if you meet a Patriots fan who's not from the Northeast, they're always the biggest douchebags. Like,
Cool.
I mean, just, when did you become a Patriots fan? Oh, 2001. Very cool. Very cool. And you make it hard for me to hate on them. So
well, the thing is I love the NFL. I love the NFL. I love the movie. Like you say, the NFL, how it's a giant soap opera is what it is. It's reality television. I love the drama that comes with it, from things like advertising on the Super Bowl to interdivision trades. I love it. I love it. I love the drama of the NFL.
Hey, I got two more things for you, and then we'll wrap this up. First of all, on the Patrick Mahomes front, do you root against him because you don't want him to catch Brady? Because obviously he's heir apparent.
I mean, can we even talk about him catching Tom? He's 5. If they win next Sunday, Tom Brady has 4 more Super Bowls than him. 4 more Super Bowls. So the fact that people are even acting like he's in this type of... Now, I'm not saying under any circumstances if the Chiefs win this game. I mean, Patrick Mahomes, what, 25 years old?
Yeah, something like, yeah, he's 25.
Tom Brady has like 39 playoff wins, okay? And Mahomes will be flying up there, but it's like Tom Brady is in another stratosphere right now, another planet right now as far as wins go. So no, that doesn't even, because realistically speaking, if you want to talk about coming close, realistically speaking, he's a decade and a half away.
So your answer to that was no?
I mean, I'm not going to root for Patrick Mahomes because I don't like the Chiefs. I don't want them to win another Super Bowl. I don't want them to beat Tom Brady. Yeah, but no one's close to him. No one's close to Tom Brady. Numbers-wise, eye test-wise, anything else, no one's close. That's just a fact. I mean, this guy, you have to realize, Tom Brady's won, I think, 39 playoff games, and you have to factor in the amount of bye weeks he's had. Just the bye weeks in the playoffs is something that I think needs to be factored in.
All right, then. Well,
he's not even close.
No, I agree with you. I also love the I believe you when you say all the things you say. All right.
And it's going to be one of those things, you're going to hear about it all this week.
Oh, God, yeah.
The passing of the torch, especially if Kansas City wins, which I think Kansas City's the better team, especially if Kansas City wins this game. It's going to be this huge thing,
Yeah, I will be. You know what, man? And I was talking about this the other night. People act like Kansas City's just going to go in there and roll. They were down 10 heading to the fourth quarter in the Super Bowl last year. And if Jimmy Garoppolo hits Emmanuel Sanders, they're then down, 3 or 4 with a minute to go.
A lot less time left.
So,
And Eric Fisher. Fisher's not playing in this game. And now they're saying that his backup might not even. They might have a third string offensive lineman in there going against Jason Pierre-Paul, who I know he's a little bit older in this league, but he's no slouch.
Yeah. And he's not. And I won't say anything about him blowing off his hands with fireworks. All right. I don't think I asked you this when I had you on a couple years ago. If you could, in the NFL, if you could fight any NFL player, who would it be and why?
Oh, God. If I could fight any NFL player. I mean, I hate Roethlisberger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'd fight a player. The thing is, my problem is more so with front office guys around the NFL.
Okay, you can fight a front office guy.
I would love to fight Jim Irsay. Or Jim Irsay, I would love to scrap with him.
Why?
I can't – listen. From Jim Irsay to who's the guy I'm blanking on? The general manager when Peyton Manning, he works for ESPN now.
He's old. Bill Polian?
Bill Polian, when people complain about the rules in the NFL with the defense and stuff like that, that all starts with Bill Polian when that Indianapolis defense was weak and was getting shellacked by New England year in and year out. So it'll probably be Bill Polian. I don't care if he's in his 80s now. Bill Polian, he'd definitely be there. There's a lot of guys. I mean, there's beat writers I'd like to fight.
Why you got to pick on the beat writers? Which beat writer would you fight?
Such douchebags. You know what I mean? I don't like people who never. I like how I'm saying this. I don't like people who never played the game and act like they played it. As I'm sitting here fucking spewing.
Well, I mean, just because you've never. Look at my argument to that is always look at the guys who have played the game, who go on TV and were great, and sound like they've been. Can't spell the word football.
Shannon Sharp, for example.
I don't watch him much, but I mean, Jason Witten in the booth, Emmitt Smith, when he was on ESPN for a while, was so bad. And I mean, so I gotta push back. I mean, you and I are talking about football. I think I have a decent idea of what I'm talking about. And
I do too. I just like acting like I'm more important than I am when it comes to talking about things like this.
By the way, Bill Polian, 78 years old.
I would fucking beat the shit out of him. But I guess for a player, I hated Pac-Man Jones. Joey Porter is who I would fucking fight. Fuck
you and
Joey.
all of Cincinnati.
Dude, fuck Joey Porter. One of the worst parts about the Steelers when they beat the Seahawks in that Super Bowl was that fucking guy getting he's a coach, I think. I want to say he's a coach now.
Yeah, for this early, at least he was. I think he might have got fired or they parted ways, whatever. But yeah, Joey Porter was the one in the 2015 Bengals Steelers wildcard game who came out onto the field when the Steelers offense is on the field. He's a defensive coach. He comes out on the field, gets in Vontaze Burfict's face, and they throw a flag on Burfict when there's a coach out on the field.
No, he's one of those. I mean, that was one of my favorite moments ever of being a sports fan was the 2004 AFC Championship game, and New England was 14-2 and Pittsburgh was 15-1, I believe. And the Patriots just went in there and smoked them. And the entire week, all you heard was from Joey Porter how, they're not on our level, they can't do that. And this was coming from a guy at the time who'd never won anything in his career, and that's how. And Joey Porter.
I might be with you on that. It might take both of us, but his son plays football too now, I think for Penn State.
Yeah, he's probably be in the league soon. I remember hearing about that.
Right. All right, man. Well, listen, we started with hating on the Steelers. We will end it with hating on the Steelers. So I appreciate you coming on. Anything you want to pitch, promote? Are you still doing like your YouTube stuff? You still digging through trash in New York? I love those videos.
Thank you. I want to continue it. I actually got the chair I'm sitting on right now. I just picked out of the trash last night. It's very nice.
That is nice.
Yeah, very nice. I can't. It's too cold, and I can't have someone. No one's gonna come out film me. So trash picking's gonna continue in the spring. Amazon Live. I'm tuning into Top Rated Club on Amazon Live every Friday. I'm not gonna be there this Friday. I'm going to Austin, Texas for comedy for a week.
Ooh.
I have a Jerry Springer episode coming out, and I got some television stuff in the works that's not 100% official yet. But follow me on Instagram at It's Ryan O'Toole. That's ITSRYANOTOOLE.
All right, we can't just kind of skim over that Jerry Springer thing. What can you tell me anything? You're just gonna. Do you know when it's gonna be?
No, listen. I talked to somebody who was incarcerated and has seen the episode. So I missed it while it aired, but I have about 100 recordings I have to go through. So it has aired on television because someone who had no recollection because he was in the penal system seen it. And so I know it's aired, so I got to get it out there. I don't want to talk too much about it until it releases publicly and I can speak on it.
Did they show Jerry Springer episodes in jail before they're released on your local TV?
No, it's not. No, it probably just played on local TV. They just don't give me a heads up at the network.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so Jerry Springer has a new show, Judge Jerry, and I was in court. I was dealing with the American legal system with former mayor of Cincinnati. Jerry Springer.
Indeed. He and I used to work, not together, of course, but he worked at WLWT where I was a sports anchor for a while. So I knew a lot of people who knew him, and everyone had great things to say about Jerry Springer.
He was a very nice guy. He was a very nice guy.
That's cool to know. All right.
He's a childhood hero of mine, and to work with him was an honor, and I'm very grateful for that.
I'm glad you got to do that. I did not know about that, and I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
All right, man. I appreciate you coming on. We'll talk soon.
Matt Edwards, you're the best.
Thanks, buddy. See ya.
Adios, pal.